morning. I'd like to welcome you to a spring special edition of Talking with Colerain Township. Tonight at the round table with me, of course, Township Administrator Jim Rowan. Jim, glad you could join us.
Thanks for having me.
We're, of course, having a special edition because, as we talked in our last sit down here during the spring, we have a town hall meeting coming up, a very important town hall meeting coming up. And we have other items that we'd like to discuss prior to that so that people can come and be educated before that date. So that's why we're here.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it's time to start thinking about the 2014 budget process.
Scary thought.
Yes. That budget officially gets adopted by July 15th. So as we promised back in January at our town hall meeting on January 22nd, we need to continue to do our due diligence and downsize our budget to whatever degree we can in hopes of trying to fiscally align everything without dramatically impacting services. And this work session we have coming up on the 28th of May at 5:30 in the trustees' chambers will be the administration's presentation to the board on what a budget sustainability plan would look like if we were to reduce our deficit by 50% and 100% respectively. And I will tell you that either one of those choices will significantly impact the services and what we can do as a township. And so as our commitment to be transparent and engage our community in that conversation, that will be the first of two very important meetings to at least lay out the blueprint of what happens if we choose to continue to drive down our cost beyond the things that we always want to do from a continuous improvement perspective. So May 28th, we will be making that presentation. And while we will not be entertaining public participation that evening, I do believe it's important for our residents to engage through either watching it on Waycross or attending the work session to start to gather information, because on June 4th at 7 o'clock at the Colerain Community Center, we will have a town hall format where we will actually make the presentation and engage in dialogue through Q&A and conversation with our community so that they understand the tough decisions that have to be made with regards to that 2014 budget and what impact it may have not only on their public safety but their non-safety services.
And I'm assuming that the town hall format will be very similar to what we've seen in January and in the past. Again, you're saying Q&A, bringing that information to a very good forefront. Again, those who can't make it that night will be able to watch it live on Waycross, but it is very important that if you can make it, please do so.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we discussed in January, there are a number of different ways we can attack this budget process. We can continue to cut, we could raise taxes, or we can do a combination. And I think what we're trying to find is that right balance, not necessarily to go out there and tax based on everything we need, but to continue to drive that efficiency. What is it that our community values? What do they want to continue to see us offer? And then is there a middle ground that we can reach, whether it's a police levy, public safety levy, how are we going to address our roads, how are we going to keep our parks open? There's a lot of different things we need to talk through. We don't have any conclusions at this point. We just need to have that community conversation. We do know that at the end of 2013, our police funding is at zero. And if we do not go on the ballot in November, we will have to use reserves out of the general fund to continue to sustain our police department.
And then again would cause a deficit somewhere else that could cause other problems down the road.
That's correct. And you know, as we look out the next 5 to 10 years, we've got a lot of debt that comes off the books in 2022. So we're trying to come up with a roadmap that's going to allow us to address some things in the short term, recognizing that when that debt drops off, that's going to create a surplus within our general fund to at least allow us to maintain. And so the question is, how do we get between here and 2022 and continue to offer the services that our community feels value?
And most people will say, well, that's just down the road, why worry about it? But as you know as well as I do, time flies so quickly that if you don't catch those things now, you're already behind the 8 ball by the time 2022 comes.
It really does. And I think what's so important about this town hall meeting is I talk a lot about the culture of value. And I know it's something that I don't know that everybody understands, but I don't believe in making decisions just strictly on a black and white issue. You know, when you try to offer services to a community, it can't always be about the bottom line. It's those items that people value in their community, whether it be their parks, their senior community center, their public safety. There are so many factors, Taste of Colerain, 4th of July, and we've had to make some very difficult decisions. And we will make those difficult decisions if we have to, but there needs to be a conversation, and there needs to be that understanding of what this Colerain community expects from its government. And what, if we need to raise taxes to be able to continue to offer a service, to what degree is acceptable within our community. And that's a conversation piece, and we will continue to do everything we can to drive our costs. We have 3 collective bargaining contracts coming up this year. Okay. Tonight, the board is looking to approve a new 3-year contract with the police department. That information will be public prior to the May 28th meeting. I think we've taken some very positive steps with that union to maintain our cost structure. We have 2 other unions that we need to go through the bargaining process with. At the last board meeting, the board authorized us to issue a request for proposals to look at, see whether there's any opportunity to save money by contracting out our mowing, our maintenance, and our snow removal. And those are difficult decisions,
yes.
But those are things that we have to look at to see what kind of financial savings there may be. And then the question becomes, the quality portion of that is, can we achieve the same level of service and quality by contracting it out versus having our own employees? And those will be some difficult decisions that we'll have to make. But on the 28th, we're going to actually spell out what Plan A and Plan B looks like. Mm-hmm. And on June 4th, hopefully our community will feel engaged enough to have that conversation and help provide input to the trustees as to what the next step should be.
Now, obviously, we've had town hall meetings before back in January, and you gained a lot of, for those who weren't able to watch it or did not get a chance to see it, there was a lot of interaction.
There was.
And which was a great movement. Did you utilize a lot of that to move you where you are today, and hopes at the same time that this meeting next month will do the same thing?
Yes, obviously the comments that came out of that meeting were very, very supportive of putting a police levy on this year. And as I have indicated from the first day I arrived here, I'm trying to come up with a solution that's going to allow us to sustain ourselves financially for more than just the police department. How are we going to globally as a township exist and provide the services that everyone wants? And how do we solve that big picture? How do I provide funding for road improvements and resurfacing? How do we maintain our parks? We have a great number of assets out there that cost money to operate. Sure. Without a park levy, how do we do that? I'm not advocating for a park levy.
No.
It's that whole balance piece. So I will have a plan to present, and it's probably going to be a balanced approach. Whether we choose to go on the ballot for a police levy this year or next year, obviously, to maintain those types of services, we're going to have additional funding, or we'll have to deteriorate our staff to the point that it's going to definitely impact the quality of service. And we don't want that to happen.
Well, and it goes back to that idea, that quality. When you were saying, we could service things out, but we may lose X, Y, and Z because that personal touch that your staff or others that you've had on your staff prior have always given. And that's something that the community is probably used to, but at the same time, you don't want to sacrifice the quality that for this, that, or another, but you have to make the decision what's going to be best for the community as a whole.
That's correct. And I'm kind of looking at this in stages. Right now my goal is how do we get from 2013 to 2018? So in my mind, 2018 is my next milestone.
Sure.
How do we get there? And then from 18 to 22 when the debt retires. And if we can come up with a comprehensive plan that doesn't have a dramatic impact on our taxes or our service levels, that is going to allow us to take those steps to that sustainability, then that's what it's all about in my mind, is striking that balance.
Well, hopefully this is what's going to happen coming soon. And again, just for those who need to know, April 28th is the work session in which you're...
May 28th.
May 28th, I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. May 28th will be the actual proposal of Plan A or Plan B. If you are unable to join them, you can watch them live at on Waycross at 5:30 on that day. It is a Tuesday, so keep your calendar marked. And then just a week later, we'll be back at the community center for a town hall meeting where your input is very important and very integral.
And that's June 4th at 7 o'clock p.m.
And again, at the community center.
That's correct.
So, well, unless there's anything else, I believe we just need to be there on the 4th.
Yes, we do.
And for all important purposes. Again, we'll be there again on the 28th as well as June 4th. Please make sure that you're there as well. I know you will be there.
Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Rowan, I appreciate the time to be able to get out here and discuss these important matters so that everybody understands what is out there and what needs to be discussed.
Absolutely.
Until, of course, later in the summer, we'll discuss other things, and quite possibly the roundtable will discuss everything that happened within this town hall meeting and where we're going, as you said, to 2014.
Sounds great.
And so until then, I thank you, and I thank you for joining us as well. It's important to get those pieces of information out. That's why we're able to do these things like Talking With and special editions like this so that you get all the information you need. My name's Jason Grzgorek. As you well know, I'm here at the roundtable with Talking With your township, Colerain Township. So until then, take care and have a great summer.